Hello dear friend, and welcome to On This Day SMR with me, Edward Hertz, where we take a look back through history at events which took place on this day. The rain is gently pittering and pattering away on the window, and the fire is crackling away nicely in the hearth. So put your headphones on, sit back, relax, and let me take you on a journey back through time. Today is Friday the 23rd of February 2024, and we have 60 events to cover, going all the way back to the year 303. Starting with the most recent event which happened 3 years ago. 4 simultaneous prison riots leave at least 62 people dead in Ecuador. 4 years ago in 2020, Ahmaud Arbery, a 25-year-old African-American citizen, is shot and murdered by 3 white men after visiting a house under construction while jogging at a neighborhood in Satilla Shores near Brunswick in Glynn County, Georgia. Five years ago in 2019, Atlas Air Flight 3591, a Boeing 767 freighter, crashes into Trinity Bay near Anahuac, Texas, killing all 3 people on board. Seven years ago in 2017, the Turkish-backed Free Syrian Army captures Al-Bab from ISIL. 12 years ago in 2012, a series of attacks across Iraq leave at least 83 killed and more than 250 injured. 14 years ago in 2010, unknown criminals pour more than 2.5 million litres of diesel oil and other hydrocarbons into the river Lambro in northern Italy, sparking an environmental disaster. 16 years ago in 2008, a United States Air Force B-2 Spirit bomber crashes on Guam, marking the first operational loss of a B-2. 17 years ago in 2007, a train derails on an evening express service near Greyrig, Cumbria, England, killing 1 person and injuring 88. This results in hundreds of points being checked over the UK after a few similar accidents. 25 years ago in 1999, Kurdish rebel leader Abdullah Öcalan is charged with treason in Ankara, Turkey. In the same year, an avalanche buries the town of Gotha, Austria, killing 31. 26 years ago in 1998, in the United States, tornadoes in central Florida destroy or damage 2,600 structures and kill 42 people. 33 years ago in 1991, in Thailand, General Sunphorn Kong Sompong leads a bloodless coup d'etat, deposing Prime Minister Chatichai Choonhaven. 36 years ago in 1988, Saddam Hussein begins an Anfal genocide against Kurds and Assyrians in northern Iraq. 37 years ago in 1987, supernova 1987A is seen in the Large Magellanic Cloud. 41 years ago in 1983, the United States Environmental Protection Agency announces its intent to buy out and evacuate the dioxin-contaminated community of Times Beach, Missouri. 43 years ago in 1981, in Spain, Antonio Tejero attempts a coup d'etat by capturing the Spanish Congress of Deputies. 44 years ago in 1980, in the Iran hostage crisis, Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ruhollah Khomeini states that Iran's parliament will decide the fate of the American embassy hostages. 50 years ago in 1974, the Symbionese Liberation Army demands $4 million more to release kidnap victim Patty Hearst. 53 years ago in 1971, Operation Lam Son 719, South Vietnamese General Do Cao Tri was killed in a helicopter crash en route to taking control of the faltering campaign. 58 years ago in 1966, in Syria, Ba'ath Party member Salah Jadid leads an intra-party military coup that replaces the previous government of General Amin al-Hafiz, also a Ba'athist. 66 years ago in 1958, five-time Argentine Formula One champion Juan Manuel Fangio was kidnapped by rebels involved in the Cuban Revolution on the eve of the Cuban Grand Prix. He was released the following day after the race. "70 years ago in 1954, the first mass inoculation of children against polio with the Salk vaccine begins in Pittsburgh. 77 years ago in 1947, International Organization for Standardization is founded. 79 years ago in 1945, in World War II, during the Battle of Iwo Jima, a group of United States Marines reached the top of Mount Surabaki on the island and are photographed raising the American flag. In the same year, also in World War II, the 11th Airborne Division with Filipino guerrillas free all 2,147 captives at the Los Banos internment camp in what General Colin Powell later would refer to as the textbook airborne operation for all ages and all armies. In the same year again, and also in World War II, the capital of the Philippines, Manila, is liberated by combined Filipino and American forces. Again in the same year and again in World War II, capitulation of German garrison in Poznan, the city is liberated by Soviet and Polish forces. Once again in 1945 and again in World War II, the German town of Pforzheim is annihilated in a raid by 379 British bombers. In 1945 again, American Airlines Flight 009 crashes near Rural Retreat, Virginia, killing 17. "80 years ago in 1944, the Soviet Union begins the forced deportation of the Chechen and Ingush people from the North Caucasus to Central Asia. 81 years ago in 1943, the Kavan orphanage fire kills 35 girls and an elderly cook. In the same year, in the Greek resistance, the United Pan-Hellenic Organization of Youth is founded in Greece. 82 years ago in 1942, in World War II, Japanese submarines fire artillery shells at the coastline near Santa Barbara, California. 83 years ago in 1941, plutonium is first produced and isolated by Dr. Glenn T. Seaborg. 90 years ago in 1934, Leopold III becomes King of Belgium. 97 years ago in 1927, US President Calvin Coolidge signs a bill by Congress establishing the Federal Radio Commission, later replaced by the Federal Communications Commission, which was to regulate the use of radio frequencies in the United States. In the same year, German theoretical physicist Werner Heisenberg writes a letter to fellow physicist Wolfgang Pauli, in which he describes his uncertainty principle for the first time. "107 years ago in 1917, first demonstrations in St. Petersburg, Russia, the beginning of the February Revolution, March the 8th in the Gregorian calendar. 115 years ago in 1909, the AEA Silver Dart makes the first powered flight in Canada and the British Empire. 119 years ago in 1905, Chicago attorney Paul Harris and 3 other businessmen meet for lunch to form the Rotary Club, the world's first service club. 121 years ago in 1903, Cuba leaves Guantanamo Bay to the United States in perpetuity. 124 years ago in the year 1900, in the Second Boer War. During the Battle of the Tugela Heights, the first British attempt to take Hart's Hill fails. 126 years ago in 1898, Émile Zola is imprisoned in France after writing J'accuse, a letter accusing the French government of anti-Semitism and wrongfully imprisoning Captain Alfred Dreyfus. 137 years ago in 1887, the French Riviera is hit by a large earthquake, killing around 2,000 people. 138 years ago in 1886, Charles Martin Hall produced the first samples of aluminium from the electrolysis of aluminium oxide after several years of intensive work. He was assisted in this project by his older sister, Julia Brainerd Hall. 139 years ago in 1885, in the Sino-French War, French army gains an important victory in the Battle of Dong Dang in the Tonkin region of Vietnam. 141 years ago in 1883, Alabama becomes the first US state to enact an antitrust law. 154 years ago in 1870, in the Reconstruction era, post-US Civil War military control of Mississippi ends, and it is readmitted to the Union. 163 years ago in 1861, President-elect Abraham Lincoln arrived secretly in Washington, D.C. after the thwarting of an alleged assassination plot in Baltimore, Maryland. 170 years ago in 1854, the official independence of the Orange Free State, South Africa, is declared. 177 years ago in 1847, the Mexican-American War. Battle of Buena Vista. In Mexico, American troops under future President General Zachary Taylor defeat Mexican General Antonio Lopez de Santa Anna. 188 years ago in 1836, in the Texas Revolution. The Siege of the Alamo, prelude to the Battle of the Alamo, begins in San Antonio, Texas. "204 years ago in 1820, Cato Street Conspiracy. A plot to murder all the British cabinet ministers is exposed and the conspirators arrested. 246 years ago in 1778, in the American Revolutionary War, Baron von Steuben arrives at Valley Forge, Pennsylvania, to help train the Continental Army. 261 years ago in 1763, Berbice slave uprising in Guyana, the first major slave revolt in South America. 569 years ago in 1455, traditionally the date of publication of the Gutenberg Bible, the first Western book printed with movable type. 1319 years ago in the year 705, Empress Wu Zetian abdicates the throne, restoring the Tang dynasty. 1396 years ago in the year 628, Khrushchev II, last Sasanian Shah of Iran, is overthrown. 1492 years ago in the year 532, Byzantine Emperor Justinian I lays the foundation stone of a new Orthodox Christian basilica in Constantinople, the Hagia Sophia. 1721 years ago in the year 303, Roman Emperor Diocletian orders the destruction of the Christian church in Nicomedia, beginning 8 years of Diocletianic persecution. So that is all we have for today. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope that you found our little trip back through history both relaxing and informative. If you did indeed like the video, please consider giving it a thumbs up and also consider leaving a comment below. All feedback is very much welcome. If you haven't already done so, please consider subscribing to the channel. It will really help the channel grow and will ensure that you are notified of future videos. Be sure to turn on notifications so that you are notified of future videos as soon as they are posted. Thank you again, and I hope to see you next time.